Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu frequently frames modern military campaigns as the continuation of ancient biblical history. This rhetoric successfully positions the State of Israel as the global representative of the Jewish faith in the eyes of the international community. Yet, in many major cities, you will find highly devout Orthodox Jews actively challenging this claim, joining pro-Palestinian rallies and burning the Israeli flag in protest. Rabbi Elhanan Beck argues that a sovereign, militarized state constitutes an active, violent rebellion against the divine command for the Jewish people to remain in exile. To understand this perspective, we must examine how the Torah serves as the foundation for an argument that places Zionism in direct conflict with traditional Jewish law. Israeli leadership often invokes the name of the ancient biblical enemy Amalek when describing modern adversaries in Gaza or Iran. Rabbi Beck offers a different definition. In his religious tradition, Amalek is a spiritual concept describing any entity that works to uproot people from their connection to God. He points to the result of a century of Zionism, a massive shift where nearly 16 million out of 18 million Jews globally have been moved away from religious belief towards secular nationalism. Because the movement intentionally replaced divine reliance with political power, effectively secularizing the majority of the population, Beck identifies the architects of Zionism as the modern embodiment of the uprooter. The theological conclusion is a total reversal. A state that claims to fight Amalek is actually performing the very function that defined the ancient enemy. The modern settler movement has become increasingly aggressive in its efforts to clear the Al-Aqsa mosque site to fulfill a prophecy and build a third temple. Rabbi Beck argues that using military force and occupation to engineer these events is a violent distortion of Jewish prophecy. In his tradition, the Messiah is a purely spiritual figure who arrives as a humble man on a donkey, possessing no physical army or political office. This arrival is supposed to usher in a period of global peace and religious unity, where all people serve God in harmony rather than through the domination of enemies. By taking holy sites through bloodshed, the state is violating the requirement to wait for divine intervention, turning a matter of faith into a project of military conquest. Following the trauma of the Holocaust, the primary justification for the State of Israel became the absolute necessity of a secure, militarized safe haven for Jews. This overlooks a long history of coexistence, where Jewish communities lived peacefully within Muslim nations like Morocco, Turkey, and Iran for centuries. The paradox of the modern state is built into its mechanics. Confiscating land and maintaining a permanent military occupation generates the very hostility that the state then uses to justify its own militarization. This cycle exports danger to Jews everywhere. By conflating the faith with the actions of a military state, Zionism sparks the global anti-Semitism it claims to protect against. This hyper-militarized environment has created a reality where the State of Israel has become the most dangerous place on earth for Jews to live. Rabbi Beck maintains that because the State of Israel exists in direct rebellion against God's commanded exile, its collapse is a theological certainty. Many assume that such a transition would require a bloody catastrophe or the mass destruction of the people living there. History shows that even the most entrenched militarized systems can be dismantled. The end of apartheid in South Africa and the fall of the Soviet Union serve as precedents for rapid, peaceful, systemic collapse. Beck's vision involves Jews returning to their role as peaceful citizens, living under a Palestinian government alongside their Muslim neighbors, as they did for generations. The Orthodox hope rests on the peaceful dismantling of a political entity, finally severing the Jewish faith from the violence of the modern nation-state.